Hey there, Prepper Marine 81 here. First off, I want to apologize again for the video quality. I know it's horrendous, but just bear with me for a while longer until I can get my hands on a new camera. But what this video is going to be going over is an essentials kit. If you've never watched a video on an essentials kit or you're not familiar with that term, it's basically what it sounds like. It's pretty much a bug out bag that has been stripped down to the bare essentials. Something that's very small, easy to carry, that you wouldn't even necessarily have to have, a backpack style. You could have that in a small, like, slinger bag or something. Um, but I watched a video on that, and, I thought, well, maybe it's a good idea, to do something, um, on that subject for my 2 cents in. So what I did was I took 10 items. The first 5 are basically going to be my essentials kit. In my opinion, the only 5 items that you will need to survive. The other 5 are things that I've thrown in there that I feel are important, but are more of a comfort item. They're all useful, but without these, you can still make do. It's just going to take some more work. So we'll go ahead and get started. First item, and I think is probably one of the most important, is going to be one of these guys. This is a SOG Jungle Primitive. As you see, it's gotten its fair share of wear, and it's taken a beating, and it's still functioning perfectly. I don't know if you've watched any of my videos on the 35 days I spent living out in the woods, but this is a knife I took with me, and it took one hell of a beating over that month, and it's fine. Had to give it a little bit of love after that month, with the stone, but surprisingly, it held up just fine for as lower quality steel as it is. But yeah, you absolutely have to have a very good survival knife. I would say if you're new to prepping, um, or even if you're not, it is worth its weight in gold to have a high quality survival knife. And you don't have to spend $300 to get it. Buy something like BK9 is a really good one, or a BK2. You can get a BK9 for, last time I checked, I think like $80 or something. They're not super expensive, but they're very high quality, very durable. They can do anything you want. I honestly, if I could have done that 35 days over again with a different field knife, I probably would have taken my BK9. The only reason why I say that is because some of these tasks that you're going to be using that for, like batoning and stuff like that, you're going to want a good thick blade, and that's one area where I think this Jungle Primitive is lacking. It's a little bit thin on the thin side. It still did the job all right, but it wasn't ideal. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. So first and foremost, invest in a good field knife. You'll be kicking yourself if you take something that's not adequate. Second, get yourself a good fire starter. It doesn't have to be this brand or anything. Just get a good one. Fire steel, whatever. Get a good fire rod, fire starter, because that is kind of self-explanatory. You're going to need to be able to make fire to cook your food, keep yourself warm, boiling water. I mean, the list goes on and on. So you need a good fire starter. That'd be my number 2. Number 3, make sure this is, you can't even tell what that is. I apologize again about the camera situation, folks. I'll get that remedied as soon as possible. This is Optimus Terra Solos cook set. This is anodized aluminum. This is an excellent, excellent cook set. I've had nothing but, good luck with it. I've not had one bit of issues out of it. It works great. It's lightweight. It doesn't have to necessarily be this cook set either. Just get one that works for you. Or bare minimum, I've got some sort of canteen cup. Something like this, even if it's just this one pot. Get yourself a good little pot, camper's pot, backpacker's pot, whatever the hell you want to call You're going to be using that for obvious reasons. If you need to boil water to sanitize it, you're going to need something like that. Putting some food in, holding water. I use it. I've used it for putting water in to shave. Um, there's all kinds of tasks that you're going to need that little pot for. It's going to come in real handy for you. So that will be my number 3. I'll say get yourself a good little pot, or one of the metal canteen cups, even like the old style GI cans, canteen cups, something like that. Let's see, what was that 3, 4? 4 is going to be kind of going in with that. You're going to need a good water bottle. I wouldn't recommend using the plastics for your essentials kit. I would get a steel one or aluminum, some kind of metal. The reason why I say that is because even though these Nalgene, I really love these Nalgene impact resistant plastic canteens or bottles, their biggest downside is that if you're in a cold environment and that water freezes, you can't put this over a fire to thaw out your water. And that's a disadvantage in my opinion, especially when you can just be carrying one that you can throw in the fire and it'll melt it. I mean, yes, you can keep it under your arm or something like that, or inside a coat to slowly thaw it out. But if you're in need of water, you don't want to have to keep messing with that, or having to try to constantly keep it in a liquid state. But that'll be my number 4. Number 5 is going to be, you can't probably tell what this is, but this is a poncho. You're going to need something that you can carry with you, either it be a tarp or a large poncho like that you can make a shelter out of. That's going to be another huge thing. You need some sort of system or some little thing like a small tarp, poncho, whatever it may be, to create a shelter for yourself. Keep the rain off of you and so forth. Block the wind. That's going to be huge. So that's the 5 bare essentials, in my opinion, that you will need. If you have these 5 items, and you know what you're doing, a lot of that is just due to knowledge, really. If you know what the hell you're doing, you know how to find food, you know how to gather water, you know how to make a shelter for yourself, you know how to keep yourself warm, keep yourself healthy. These 5 items will accomplish that, given you're in an area that you can find, small game, stuff like that, fish, what have you. The other 5 items that I think are kind of more of a comfort item that can help you out is one is I made up a little fishing kit here. This has got all kinds of little goodies in it. Big spool of fishing line, hooks, some different baits, everything that you're going to need for fishing. This tiny little case is going to make it a lot easier on yourself trying to fish. I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to do it without that, or it's going to be very time consuming. So that's going to be my number 6 as far as something to help you out with that. Number 7, a spool of wire. So a lot of you probably already know why I have this on here. Any kind of trapping of small game. You can use like deadfall traps, stuff like that. But if you have a spool of wire to be able to trap small game, it makes it a hell of a lot easier and more effective. And the simple fact that you can reuse this. You can catch an animal, take it out of the snare, reset the snare after you cleaned it. You can use that for a while. That'll be, what am I on here, 7? Number 8 is going to be, I don't know if you can see what this is, a compass. If you've got a good compass, kind of self-explanatory, that's going to help you out as far as navigation goes. You don't need a compass in order to navigate yourself. I've got a video on my channel that explains that. I won't go into that. So that'll be my number 8. Number 9, first aid kit. Now, granted, this has a lot of stuff in it. This little pouch. It's got all kinds of like water purification tablets in it. Obviously, first aid stuff. Some little odds and ends that are packed up inside this, but making yourself a good little first aid kit, for obvious reasons, injure yourself somehow, that's going to be pretty important too. That's number 9. Number 10, It's a good flashlight. Granted, yes, uh, batteries only last so long. This is LED, so they'll last quite a while. Especially if you got one that has some like high and low settings where you can adjust battery usage. That's going to come in handy, for whatever reasons at night. If you don't have a fire going, you can't see what's going on, so forth. But there you have it. There's my 10 essential items kit. I'm not saying that this is the go-to, 10 items that you should have for everybody. You're going to have to adjust it to fit your needs or things that are going to be best suited for you. If you're lacking in knowledge of how to do a certain thing, you're going to have to pick up the slack gear-wise to accomplish that. But play around with it. We'll try to find some different videos on YouTube about doing this kind of a thing. And if you are new to prepping, this is an excellent way to start out. Start out with making a bare essentials 5 and build yourself out from that, because you know that everything else that you have beyond that is just going to make your life a little bit easier. But if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to leave them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and everyone have a good holiday season. Take care.